Texas.
This is 13 Minutes to Magic Texas, an abbreviated limited series podcast about the TAOM, SAM, FISM, and ACM combined convention in Arlington, Texas on August the 30th through September the 2nd, which we call Magic Texas. I am one of your hosts, Scott Wells.
I'm Dal Sanders, the president of the Texas Association of Magicians and the co-producer of Magic Texas.
And I'm Eric Hogue. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Magic Texas, and this year very fortunate to be the Vice President of the Texas Association of Magicians.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some interesting things here this week, but just to continue, every 2 weeks we bring you information, updates, and highlights from Magic Texas. And so this week in particular, we have Eric here to talk with us a little bit about some of the donations and why we're needing them, and some of the things that are being planned if we have enough money to support certain projects. And we're going to be again hosting this in Arlington, Texas, which is near Arlington Field where the Texas Rangers play, and also across from a spectacular venue called Texas Live that is a performance venue. And going to let Eric talk a little bit about that. And Eric?
Great. Thanks, Scott. Dal, it's great to be with you guys today. You know, one of the things that we really loved about Arlington when we were checking it out is how it is an entertainment venue all on its own. Really, the whole city. You've got Texas Live, which is just incredible. Then, of course, you got the Dallas Cowboys and you got the Rangers. You know, one of the things that we really liked about it is because it was an entertainment venue and what the future could even hold in the Arlington area for us as a Magic venue if we wanted to look forward.
You know, you forgot to mention that Six Flags Over Texas, the original Six Flags, is also there.
Absolutely.
So is that huge water park,
Hurricane Harbor, and they're also building the Medal of Honor Museum. They are. A lot of things happening in Arlington. In fact, a little history there. Back in the day in downtown Arlington, there was a little fountain that ran through that they called the Fountain of Youth. And the city is considering rebuilding that and reopening it, which is very cool. So just a little FYI. You know.
So people might want to come and dip their foot in that.
So magicians wouldn't have to buy dark hair dye anymore. They could just come and drink from this fountain. Okay, yeah. That's a great idea.
The magic happens in Arlington.
It's in Arlington, that's right.
You know, but we're excited about this because of what this convention represents, what it stands for. It's not just FISM, it's not just SAM, it's not just TAOM, but it's also the 100th anniversary of the Dallas Magic Club, which is, you know, you sum all that together, it's a unique convention, nothing like we've ever had before. So we're very excited to have that. But we also want to make it something that's very memorable. And so part of the challenge with that is using an event venue like we've got here in Arlington, having some of the things that we want to have. It takes money to make those types of things happen. And so we want to bring in some phenomenal acts because it is FISM, because it is SAM, because it is TAOM. We want to bring in some phenomenal acts from around the country, literally around the world.
Right.
That's going to take funding. On top of that, we're going to need funding for some of these venues because these are high-dollar venues that we really want to showcase what Magic can do. We want to do that for the community of North Texas so they can see it, and then for those that are coming in from out of town. And so we're talking big dollars. You know, in the past, a lot of times when we think of fundraising, we think of $2,500, we think of $5,000. We're going even larger than that.
Add another zero or two on that.
Oh, yes, sir, without a doubt. We got to have that in order to accomplish what we believe will be just a phenomenal event for hopefully 1,200 people. I mean, I know that's a pie in the sky attitude, but you know, if you don't dream big, guess what happens?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So that's why we're looking at these numbers.
If we reach for the star, we'll still hit the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to point out that a lot of regional conventions like TAOM and even the SAM lately have had their theater shows in the hotel on not permanent stages, you know. And while that's been great, this is a chance to bring these the theater experience back and put these magic acts back on a proper theater stage. The stage we're looking at, well, the stage we've contracted with, the main stage, is at University of Texas in Arlington. It's Texas Hall. And the stage is so big that before they built their field house, they played their basketball games on that stage.
On the stage,
and
holy
people
moly.
sat in the audience and watched it in theater seats. So it's a huge, huge stage.
Are we going to be busing people there, or is it?
Yes, we will be busing people there. And that's something else we need money for.
Right. And we're looking at kind of a unique way to bus them there, which is very cool. Also uniquely Arlington, Texas. And again, that's why we're trying to raise funds. That's why we're going out there looking for corporate sponsorships. And we just, everyone knows someone who works for some big corporation, someone that wants to help out, that's got a foundation. That's what we're looking for. And so we need folks that are listening to us today, if they know somebody who works somewhere who does something, if they can reach out and let us know who that is, we'll go to them, we'll do our sales pitch, we'll get the funds, and we'll have an event like you've never seen before.
Well, yeah, given the fact that we have those kinds of funds, you as a CAOO are going to be directing that to and funneling it to the right places.
Yes, sir.
Because I remember, Dal, exactly what you were talking about. It used to be in days of old, it seems like, where we did have theaters, proper legitimate theaters, where the IBM and SAM and even the TAOM and others would either you could walk to or bus to or you could drive to that we would use. But it got so that the cost of the theater plus the union hall costs, et cetera, and everything went up, whereas our registration costs had remained either the same or perhaps only gone up modestly, but mainly our registrations have gone down so that they didn't the ends justify the means. And so now we are looking at trying to take something back, as you said, to giving it a bit of the glory of days of old, I guess, basically, if we get the right kind of money. And every little, we don't need to have one big sponsor, although that'd be great, but if we could have several, I mean, if, $5,000 or $10,000, I assume, from whomever.
But let's look even higher, Scott. Let's
okay.
go as high up to $50,000. I mean, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so we're looking at different levels: $50,000, $25,000, $10,000, $5,000, and $2,500. Those are the categories that we're looking at. And think about it this way: Dow is the president of TAOM this year. He's also one of the producers of Magic Texas. So he's the pie in the sky guy. He's thinking of all the different acts and what it'll look like great. As the COO, I'm worried about the business end of it and how we make this happen and how it can, from a number standpoint, really come together. And that's what we've got to get to. That's where our focus has got to be. And that's why we've got to think outside of the normal magic box, so to speak, and think about what we can do to have these type of dollars come in so that we can have the kind of acts on the type of stages that we want to have them in that can be different than what we've ever had before.
What types of perks or benefits would companies get? Do they get a certain number of seats for their employees?
Obviously, they get seats for their employees. They also get to meet the celebrity magicians that are there. They also get to have themselves advertised on the posters, on the T-shirts. They get mentioned throughout the convention. We have them on all our media that goes out nationally. And so they do get publicity, which is something that we don't have to just look at a local business. We could look at a business that is a global business.
Sure.
Because they will get advertising at a national or global
or international level. Because again,
Absolutely.
This is, even though we call this the North American Championships of Magic, FISM, it is something that is on an international scale because there will be people coming from South Korea and other countries to compete in the North American. And people can do, we'll talk more about the entry requirements for getting into the contest, but it's not necessarily limited to just North American people. My point is that it will be reaching other countries, so their message of whomever that might be, of whether it's United Airlines or Oxy or whomever, they who do business internationally, trade internationally, they will be getting that kind of exposure.
Absolutely. It's just like right now, we just mentioned earlier in the broadcast about how the Texas Rangers are here at the World Series. Well, that's in North Texas, but the world will be watching to see
Correct.
who wins that World Series. The same way with this being the North American Championship of Magic, it's in the same vein, the same way. The world's going to be watching to see who moves on up.
That's true. That's a very good point, because I don't think that Americans in general appreciate magic as an art the way that other countries do. And so in other countries, when they hear about that, I think they'll pay more attention in other countries almost than they do in America in some case. So you will be getting that international attention in those other countries, or whether it's England, Japan, or Germany, or wherever, I think. So I like what you're saying of having the different levels. And even like to sponsor one thing, I know it's going to be costing us like $35,000 a day just to have this Texas Live venue.
Right. Oh, it's even worse than that. It's not just for the day; it's $35,000 for the afternoon.
Oh, just the afternoon. Okay.
But it's a big venue. It's an amazing venue with the screens. I mean, you can, just imagine what if we could have, for example, some of America's Got Talent type stars on that stage.
Sure.
And not just for the local and the magicians who have come in with their families, but you open this up to the public that they could come and be a part of it. What kind of impact, and you mentioned it earlier about the art of magic and how in America we don't always recognize that. What if we could do something to put some spotlights on how magic is an art form, not just a hobby, but an art form?
And if you are sponsoring that afternoon or something, then your company or whatever companies are sponsoring that, saying throughout that afternoon, this is being brought to you by whomever.
Absolutely. And we will be shouting that from the rooftops of who our sponsors are.
Right.
Without question.
So again, you recommend that people would do what? Specifically right now, what do you want to do?
Right now, if you know someone who knows someone whose brother's, aunts, uncles, cousins, sister's friend is an executive in a large corporation or even a small corporation or whatever, if you know someone who would be willing and you think interested in being one of our sponsors, reach out to us.
Okay.
Let us know.
Well,
get us a name.
As we wrap up over here, then let me have a call to action. What would be the address? How can they reach you, or what do they do?
Very simple. You can send it to an email to be@magictexas.com. be@magictexas.com. Get it?
Got it.
And if you will just send us a contact name information, we'll reach out to you. We'll go to them. We'll do a Zoom call, whatever it takes, to see if we can pique some interest in them sponsoring one of our great
So in other words, you make the suggestions and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely.
How much easier can that be, really? I mean, but if you are in a position to do that, we're not looking necessarily just for corporate sponsors. It could be an individual who might be saying, we're able to give you this kind of...
If Bill Gates is out there and wants to help us, we'll take his money too.
And the thing is, really, these venues are going to change how people view magic, period. It's going to elevate the way our magic looks, whether it's the close-up show at Texas Live or the stage shows over at Texas Hall. It's these places are expensive, like Eric said.
And are we a 501c3? So
501(c)(6).
What are we?
501c6.
We are a 501c6.
So we are a nonprofit.
We're also working with the Magic Endowment Fund of SAM. But Scott, that's our time.
It looks like our 13 minutes is up.
We'll have to come back and talk about that later.
I think so. So until next time, everybody, that was Dal Sanders and Eric Hogue. I'm Scott Wells. Bye-bye, y'all.